Hey, welcome back to an episode of The Strange and Uncanny. I'm Dane. This is where we talk about cryptids, conspiracies, UFOs, aliens, and things that go bump in the night. Today we're going to touch on a couple different things today. We're going to touch on basically a lot of people have different theories on what they think Bigfoot is, what they think aliens are, what they think ghosts are. And I mentioned in my previous video that I thought they were interdimensional. I kind of want to go into that a little bit. What I mean by that, I think that basically, just like we're in the third dimension, our shadows are in the second dimension. I believe they're in the fourth dimension, but they can cross over anytime they want. That would explain a lot of the Bigfoot tracks that just lead to nowhere and disappear. There's always the argument, why is there no bodies? Well, if you're not from this dimension, you know what I mean? You're probably not going to have a body in this dimension. Even if they're not going to leave them here. That's why I believe that, places like Chestnut Ridge in Pennsylvania, they've went through, and they still go through it. I mean, their sightings there are always orbs, different cryptids from Bigfoot to panthers to dogmen to UFOs, which I find pretty interesting. I think that places like Skinwalker Ranch, Bradshaw Ranch, all those are major hot areas for it. I don't know if it has to do with, magnetic force. I'm not sure what creates the portals they can come through. I don't think anybody could answer that, or maybe they create their own. Maybe that's what the orbs are about. A lot of times, if you really research Sasquatch, Bigfoot, things like that, there's a lot of report of orbs in the woods too. Maybe that I don't know if it's a guide. Maybe that is the portal. It follows them around. They can go in and out of it. There's been a lot of reports of them being able to cloak, almost like the Predator did, which that's a whole different thing. I think movies, producers, I'm not sure who knows all this shit, but they seem to put little hints in movies I've grew up with of things that are more possible now. And we'll get into that on another video. But, there's going to be argument from the other side of the Bigfoot community that, it's a unknown primate. It's, a hybrid, which, I'm not saying it's not a hybrid. Maybe it could be. But I don't think that, it's Gigantopithecus or anything like that. There's been DNA collected through the years from different, Sasquatch researchers, and there's people that's pretty reputable that have turned, in DNA. And a lot of it's been sent away. And I've seen this several times of the results to where the mitochondrial DNA, which is the mother's, in case you didn't know that, comes back as, obviously female, but it comes back as a Middle Eastern descent female. And the nuclear DNA always comes back unknown. And I don't mean unknown of, its origins. I mean unknown as what species. Which I find extremely interesting. Because I've always thought that there's some kind of tie between Bigfoot, the Nephilim, even dogmen and the Nephilim in some sense. And that goes back to different lore from other cultures. You had dog-headed beasts, things like that. But when you have DNA that comes back like that, and it's ignored by, there's... Let me explain something to you. Not everybody in the Bigfoot community is on the same page. and that's just a fact. And a lot of people have a theory, and that's great. I have my own theories. Like I just said, that was my theory. But I'm open to other theories, and I have other theories. I mean, I could be wrong. Nobody's ever going to know. Till you can produce one to me, I'm not going to change my theory for you. I might listen to it, but I think my theory is pretty good. And I'm not saying your theories aren't good. They are. But in the community, people don't like other theories much. It's kind of weird. UFO community, same way. You know, you'll have a group of people that it's got to be from, you know, a faraway planet, all this shit. Then you got other ones that say they live in the ocean, which they very possibly do. I think they have bases there at least. But to get back on the DNA thing, to me, that right there, you know, you've got, like I said, with the Nephilim, the story of that, if you don't know, is fallen angels had intercourse with human women, and their offsprings were giants. They were Nephilim. The Book of Enoch, they talk about the Watchers. They had intercourse with females and had hybrids called the Nephilim. Different cultures all the way across have very similar stories. But like I said, the DNA kind of blows me away on it. I think it's extremely interesting. And just like with Skinwalker Ranch, Bradshaw Ranch, Chestnut Ridge, that may be places that it's easier for them to come through. You've got Skinwalker Ranch. I don't know if anybody follows that. I do a little bit. I mean, I catch up more on it on YouTube than I do sitting watching it because I forget it's on. But there's something there. I mean, obviously, because there's actually through all the mesas, they're all hot spots. Skinwalker Ranch is only one of them. There are several through there. Like I said, there's Bradshaw Ranch and so on. And then Chestnut Ridge, if you do your research on it, it is, oh my God, the sightings there are unreal. It's one of those things that it's kind of it's exciting to me, but it's also a little bit scary. I've always thought, you know, for years that things can come in and out of our dimension. I think that, you know, animals can see them before we can, all that. But you know, with that being said, what if like shadow people? Yeah, you know, you've got the Hat Man. You've got they just go on and on. Every I've lived in different state, and they call it something totally else. You know, something different. It's a woman with long hair. I've actually experienced it. Mine was more just like a silhouette, but you know they attribute that to dream paralysis, which I mean I definitely felt like I couldn't get up and everything like that. It was pretty freaking scary, man. But regardless, what if those things are just coming in and out of our dimension? You know, there's reports of people being watched by shadows. What if they're little glitches? You know, I'm sure everyone has seen The Matrix, at least heard about it. You know, what if some of that shit's true and our dimensions kind of intertwine a little bit? What if that's where some of the missing people go? What if it could all be, it's wide open, and you know, this is a lot of speculation. What I recommend you do your research on it and get down that rabbit hole. It's worth going down. And with that being said, like, share, subscribe. I've noticed on my page that I have a lot of people that watch the video, but not so many subscribers. It only takes a second, and it helps my channel out. Until next time, I will see you